What's up, YouTube? Back again with another tier list. This time, thank you. I keep getting follows at the start of the video. We're doing a Rage Drive tier list. So this is Rage Drive tier list. Basically how good Rage Drives are. Anyway, we'll start off with what is unquestionably the top 2 Rage Drives in the game, Steve and Paul. I don't think anyone can debate me on this. They are the best Rage Drives. I do think Steve's is slightly better because Paul has a weakness in that you can step it, you can walk it a certain way. But even still, you know, if you block it, you gotta take a mix up, whatever you have to deal with it. Steve, you don't have a way to move around it, you just gotta hold it. You actually just gotta hold it. But Paul's, there is a way you can get around it, but obviously he has good homing and tracking in his normal moves anyway, that you aren't really going to be moving around Paul, especially if you're back to the wall. Another Rage Drive that I believe is S tier, and also a reason it's become S tier also because of season 3.3 is Kazuya's. And that may shock a few of you. Let me explain why. So Kazuya's Rage Drive was one that you could actually deal with by sidestepping to the left, like the rest of Kazuya's tools. But with tracking hell sweeps, you aren't going to want to do that anymore. Which means the moment Kazuya's in rage, you're in a 50-50. And then Dancing Zane, thank you for the £5 donation. What did that say? Keep up the good content, and thank you so much, Dancing Zane. I appreciate that very much. I need to get back to my tier list though, but I appreciate you. Yeah. Also, as Yako just mentioned, the damage at the wall also ridiculous. Gonna break the floor as well. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And simply because the moment because using rage, you're in a 50-50. You don't want to move anymore because you have that health suit that's gonna lock you down. And also, I'm not too sure. I feel like they stealth buffed the tracking on it because I've been struggling to step it a lot more. But that's just speculation. I'm not too sure on that one. Now, I think that's it for the S tier Rage Drives, unless someone in the chat right now has a Rage Drive that they believe is also S tier. Like, just straight up, this one is S tier. I think those are the only real S tier Rage Drives. Marduk, I think Marduk's A tier. Because with Marduk, it's the damage. With Marduk, it's the damage, right? That's the thing that's really gonna mess you a bit. It's the damage. These 3 Rage Drives are incredible neutral tools. Incredible neutral tools to have. I don't think Marduk's is the same because the rest of these you can just, like with Marduk, you just block it. You can just block it and you're kind of fine, right? Well, obviously in combos, that's when Marduk's Rage Drive really messes you over, which is why I think it's also an A tier Rage Drive. Lings, I think Lings is also A tier. I don't think it's S tier. Like, yes, unseeable low launcher that really strong makes her back turn mix up a lot stronger, and that's why it's so strong. But I think the damage off of it isn't great, right? I think the damage off of it isn't great. You know, it can be low parried. I don't see it as strong as these Rage Drives, no, because what they all have is what being strong neutral tools is great damage as well. I don't see it on the same level. King is another A tier one for me. Another A tier one. Great for combo damage, especially at the wall. You know, he can go for a throw mix up or guaranteed damage. Also a good neutral tool, plus one of those really plus Rage Drives that forces you into mix up. Really strong. But it's just not as strong as these ones, in my opinion. But it's still a very strong tool. Very strong tool. Now, next up, I think let's get the bad Rage Drives out of the way, because there are a few bad Rage Drives. Let's get the bad ones out of the way. And actually, first off, let me just make this an A, because there are a few characters with no Rage Drive, as Akuma. Where are you, useless 2Ds? Geese and Eliza. Where is Eliza? There is Eliza. And now let's talk about the bad Rage Drives. Let's talk about a few bad ones here. We'll do a few bad ones, then we'll go back to doing a few good ones, right? I think when you've got some more bad ones on the table, you've got to go with the worst in the game, and that is Law. Like, we're going to make this just F as well. Because F's in the chat for Law's Rage Drive. Seriously. Seriously, it's not good. It's just, it's awful. It's a seeable low that once you block is -9. It's kind of bad. F's in the chat for Law's Rage Drive. Next up, we'll do 3 bad ones. We'll do 3 bad ones. There aren't many like terrible Rage Drives in this game. You know, Jax is yeah, I think Jack is kind of the same as Law as well. You know, I think Jax is just a bit more, I think just a bit harder to see, but still it's on that same level where you're not really, they're not good neutral tools at all. They are terrible neutral tools that you can't really use you can't reuse them. I'm going to make another row as well. I'm going to actually have C tier Rage Drives as well. We'll have C tier Rage Drives as well. And now next up for a bad Rage Drive. See, I'm going to do Gigas, but for me, Gigas is either here or like here, right? Gigas is either good or not good. Gigas is either okay, because C tier Rage Drives are just like, oh, that's all right. You know, that's all right. That's an all right Rage Drive. And then this is just like, you're useless, fam. You're useless, fam. You know, you're useless, fam. And I kind of think Gigas, because the thing is, there are lots of characters that can just parry his follow-up, and yes, he can mix up and go for the really long one, but it can just be parried. Some characters can just rage art him. Like, if you just jump back, it doesn't exist anymore. If you just stay down, it doesn't exist anymore. It's a really bad Rage Drive. It's really bad. Like, the more I think about it, it's a horrible Rage Drive. Gigas has nothing going for him. Rip this character. Let's see, what else do we want to Kazooie can straight up fly stance towards him and launch him out. See, this is why. Jin's Rage Drive is 14 frames, does more damage than pulls, and gives more plus frames than block, and is a mix up and it tracks. Yeah, but pulls is still one of the best in the game unquestionably. Jin's is also very good, and Jin's will also be another A tier Rage Drive because it's basically electric, as fast as electric, but you're just gonna be flying all over the screen, and obviously wall splat from as far as you want. And also it's another one where you block into mix up. I do think very, very strong Rage Drive. By the way, it's not going to be in order. It's not going to be in order because a lot of this is also like regular tier is very subjective. So yeah, that's another one that's really, really important. And now, you know, I'm going to do a bunch of Rage Drives now. I'm going to do a bunch of Rage Drives now that are all kind of, sorry about that, they're all kind of similar. And that is Drags, Brian. I think Asuka kind of fits into this as well. You guys can obviously see the kind of Rage Drive we're talking about. KCR, thank you so much for your 15 months of subscription to this channel. But yeah, Deadly Rave is a Rage Art, not a Rage Drive. But yeah, these are the spiky Rage Drives that are really plus on block as well, which they're all very similar, you know, around the A tier. I think there's a few more that have them as well, and when I see them, I'll point them out. But these are all like the very, very good Rage Drives. You know, they're plus on block. They have a weak side. What's different between these and like ones like, you know, these ones is they have a weak side which can be exploited. Like all of them can be stepped, I think, all of them to the left. I know I've moved all of them to the left at one point, but they do have a weak side that you can get around. But even still, like, it's a mix up on block. They've got good range, and all of them in combos as well. Very, very good. Very, very good. Very, very good. Heihachi. A lot of people saying Heihachi in the chat. So Heihachi does have a good Rage Drive, I think. 10 frame counter hit launcher. Also, the combo damage for it as well, if he does it into Omen, is a bajillion damage. It is a bajillion damage, you know. And then obviously it's a counter hit launcher, and then he just does the back two. It's a good whiff punisher. I do think, you know, a very, very strong Rage Drive. Not much that also needs to be said about it. Now, let's do a bad one. Let's do quite a not great one, right? I think we're doing that. You know, let's go for mid, and we're going to go for Lay's. Because Lay has a bunch of Rage Drives, but I was talking to Dinosaur about this once. And Lay's Rage Drive is like, they're all just kind of okay. They're probably around B tier, probably in C tier. Depending on the strength of the other ones, it's going to be between these two, but Lays is just kind of you know, he has a bunch of rage drives, but they're just like you know, they're not really anything to be too worried about, so it just depends on that. Kuma's isn't bad. The bears aren't bad. I'm gonna leave them be because they have a very good what's the word, they have a very good functionality that not other rage drives have, in that, like, for staying down you get relaunched again and stuff like that, and there are some moves where it's a guaranteed follow-up afterwards. So I think that's very, very important to have. So I think that's something that's very important to mention. So yeah, that's not really much more to say about that. The next up is what we're going to say. You know, Zafina's is an interesting one for me. Like, to me, Zafina's hangs between A and B, because yes, it's a 14 frame launcher that's very, very plus on block, but if you whiff it, you're kind of dead. You're kind of dead, you know? So I think just for this sort of surprise, how fast it comes out, you know, kill you factor of it, 14 frame launcher is great. But then again, a lot of rage drives are kind of like that. Like, once you, well, because not in the same way Zafina's is though. That's, yeah, your opponent can run to the bathroom and come back and still have time to whiff punish you, right? I saw Chamberman go parry it and he got an unblockable punish. Well, there you go, right? Like, I think, yes, it's good. It's a good rage drive, but I think that's such a staggering weak. If you whiff it, just don't be... It's a good rage drive. I think it's on par with these in terms of their strength, but its weakness is so, like, do not whiff this thing or you're screwed, right? Don't whiff it. That's your one objective when you're in rage with Zafina. Don't whiff it. Do not whiff it. Don't whiff it. If you whiff it, don't whiff it. That's what I've got to say. What is the green? It's for characters that don't have a rage drive. This is a rage drive tier list, dog. Rage drive tier list. But yeah, speaking of, like, the sort of surprise rage drive, I think another one to throw out there is Alyssa's. I think Alyssa's is quite good. Another one that's either A or B. You know, it's one of those ones that comes out really fast, covers a lot of range, mix up on block. Like, I think that's what makes it, it's very good. I don't think it has any, thanks for low cab. I don't think it has any real big weakness to it. Yeah, I think it's 0 on block, but yeah, she's flying at you. So it's like she can go for the low and stuff. So I think there's a lot, it's not just like, oh, this is dead. But yeah, so I think it's quite good. And I think depending on where other rage drives go, I'll sort of adjust from there, but I think, yeah, that's not too bad for it. And let's get another set of rage drives out of the way. I will put them together. Feng and Leo. I think these two have very similar rage drives that kind of both depend on the wall. And I think Feng's is better than Leo's, but I think they're very, very similar. Feng's is better than Leo's because it's faster. Feng's is 13 frames. Does the same kind of death fist thing, right? But Leo's has, I already said Leo. Did I already say Leo has more range? I can't remember. I'm going insane. But yeah, Feng's is faster and they both give you a mix up a lot, especially, but these two are so dependent on the wall. They're both so dependent on the wall. I think on waller stages, you just kind of block their rage drives and they're fine. They're good get off me tools. But without the wall, they're not really anything special. So they can kind of, well, they're not better than Zafina's, but this isn't in order, right? It isn't in order. See, and what's interesting about this tier list as well, if we were talking about rage drives only used in one particular way, for example, Katarina's for the 1 billion damage combo, Katarina's would be one of the best, but Katarina's isn't a great neutral tool, you know what I mean? The same can be said for Lee's. Lee's into while standing 2 4, I forget Lee's, whatever. Lee's into while standing 2 into rage drive makes a very good rage drive. As a neutral tool, not so much, you know what I mean? So it's this, that's why you sort of have to factor these things in when talking about rage drives. So we do talk about Katarina's kind of sits here though, I'd say the same with Lee as well. Like, they're okay. They're okay when used. I think that's what C tier is. They require a situation. They require a function. They require a situation to be useful, right? you don't want to throw their rage drives out as neutral tools. So they're kind of used to this. I'd say Noctis is the same. Great range, of course, but obviously just step it. And if your back isn't the wall, you know, it's just a get off me tool. Like, and obviously if your back's not to the wall, you just push them away. Same with Fangs and Leos, but you know, even worse in my opinion. I'd say Bob also has kind of a meh rage drive. Like, yeah, you get a mix up on block, but it's so linear. It's so linear. I've seen situations where the first hit hits and the next hit whiffs. Like it's not a great rage drive in my opinion. Good for combos and stuff like that. Once again, another situational one. It's good for combos and stuff. As a neutral tool, nah. You know? I think Kazumi will go B. Kazumi isn't the same as these ones, kind of. Kazumi does chip damage as well, which is quite nice. But yeah, Kazumi's kind of the same as these in terms of like the wall's quite important. But Kazumi's isn't plus on block as well. I think Kazumi's actually -2 on block. I think Kazumi's rage drive is -2 on block, right? It's kind of, I guess it makes it worse than those ones though. But when it hits, good damage. But it's like, yeah, it launches, but it's kind of the same as these ones on block, if you get what I mean. So it's kind of like, it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest, you know. Can Lars rage drive be done? Every rage drive can be done out of neutral. Just whether or not it's a good idea is a different question, you know. Follow up, we have Julia, who's I think another C tier rage drive. Not great. Not a good rage drive. It's just kind of, it's just so generic. And it's another one of these ones that push away, but I think just not as good as well. So I do think it kind of sucks as a rage drive, but isn't, you know, too much. If we go to another A tier rage drive, I think Devil Jins is an A tier rage drive launching. Well, I'm thinking about it now. It kind of just makes Hell Sweep not launch punishable, right? That's kind of all it really does. It kind of just makes it not launch punishable. That's all it really does. You still die if you... No, you don't, because there are a lot of characters that don't have great 14 frame punishes. That's the thing. You don't die if it's blocked. That's the thing. It's like you're... Anyone who's gonna block the Hell Sweep, anyone that's gonna block the Hell Sweep is gonna block the raised Hell Sweep anyway and punish it anyway. You know? Like, it's kind of like laws in the same way. You'll be anticipating it, but you can't react, and it's unsafe. How laws basically used to be. So I think Devil Jin is actually kind of a B tier rage drive, you know. I think it's kind of a B tier rage drive. You can't die because you're already in rage. That is true. Yeah, Devil Jin was like, for me, it was like, yeah, it's strong, but the more I think about it, the more it's just like, yeah, you fucking suck. But I think Yoshi's is actually an A tier rage drive. I think Yoshi's is an A tier rage drive because of, I think it's a kind, but now that I say that, I don't think so. Now that I say that, I don't think so, right? Because it's a high crushing launcher, does a lot of damage. High crushing launcher does a lot of damage, has good surprise factor. You know, also will spin a second time for longer combos, but you just kind of block, you know? You just kind of block it. And that's the thing, you know? I guess it's that you can say that's the same with a lot, but not really, you know? I think once it's blocked, there's no real mix-up. It's like, okay, we've returned to a neutral situation because of pushback. Just blocks D. Yeah, but what's the difference between like the difference between the S tier ones is kind of like, you've still got shit to worry about once you blocked it. You've still got so much shit to worry about once you blocked it. Same with a lot of A ones as well. You've still got shit to worry about once you blocked it. Yoshi, it's like block it, backdash, now let's play the game again. So I think it's another B one as well. I think it's another B one as well. Talking like, and if we're talking about like lackluster rage drives, Leroy's as well. B maximum, like C most likely, because it's not if we count his Kane as a rage drive, you've got yourselves an S tier rage drive if you count his Kane as a rage drive. But if we're talking about in neutral, like there's just, oh, this isn't, it's not in order, by the way. It's not in order. It's not in order. It's just like, nah, you know, season use it in a wall combo. That's true, but like that's, and again, it's a situational one. It's a situation, the same as a lot of the SC ones. Like once they're in the situation, they're kind of good, but outside of it, they're just kind of meh. They're really meh, you know. Doesn't it high crush Leroy's? I think so, but still then it's not great, I don't think. Now continue on. If we do, actually, I think Ravens is an A tier race drive. Ravens is definitely an A tier race drive. It's like 14 frames fast, low crash. I think it's 14 frames. Don't quote me on that. But very fast. 15 frames. Okay, 15 frames. Low crashes, explosive, good damage. I think it's quite a good race drive in my opinion. Ravens is inconsistent. I haven't seen that, but if that is the case, I don't know, from what I've seen, it's quite a good race drive. But a wonky hitbox, I still think it's quite a good race drive. I think Josie's is also kind of good, but what is with the same with Josie's is another one of those just block ones, I think. But then again, it strengthens her crouch mix up, right? Because if a Josie is slapping you the whole game with CD3 and then she's in rage, you're going to be scared. You know, you won't want to block low, and it makes her CD3 so much stronger. And I think that's what makes a good race drive, making like the neutral game so much stronger, making one part of the game so much stronger. So I think that is quite important for a race drive. It's either B or A in my opinion. It's either B or A. It's a very good race drive in my opinion. Good damage as well. I think I'll leave it here for now, but I think that's quite a good race drive to have. We're talking Shaheen. I think Shaheen's is like B, because yeah, 14 frames is the punish, but like once you block the down back too, you're already ready to be ducking it all the time. You're already ready to be ducking it because you know it's coming. Duck and launch it. So even though it's fast, and you know, even if you do know it's coming, it can be difficult to duck. I still think with that knowledge there, it's still just a bit of a B tier race drive, you know. And next up, all of the race drives we have left are really not spectacular. Really, yeah, he can hit confirm, but that is true. But all the race drives we have left aren't that spectacular, I don't think. We don't have any great race drives left. Like, they're all around CB. Nina's is sick. I don't think Nina's is that good. I think Nina's is another explosive one. All splats from far away, low crushes, does a lot quite fast. And then she does lead into a mix-up afterwards as well. I'm just thinking about all the times I've blocked it. I think it can go in A. I think it's an A tier race drive. I think it's quite a strong race drive. Yeah, it does re-wall splat as well. You know, it has a lot of utility. That's what I've been looking for most of this video. It has a lot of utility. There's a lot that can be done with it, so I think it's really good. How's it going, Sub-Zero? And like the rest of the race drives aren't that good. Hwoarang's, I'd put Hwoarang's in B because of how I like to use it. Unseeable low, once you block the mix up. And I like going for the back two after it. I like mix up with down 3-4. Like I like what its race drive is. I like what it's good for. That's all that there is to really be said about it. Other than that, you know, I do think it's a bit of a, it's not spectacular, but you know, I think it fits in with these ones. I think it kind of fits in. And then I think Eddie's is like C as well. Eddie's isn't good. If you're like walking when he comes out with rage drive, the first hit's gonna hit, the second hit's gonna whiff. The mix up on block isn't that good. You know, I think just because the character also isn't that good, so I think it's not really any much going for it. I think Claudio's to me sits between A and B. It sits between A and B because a good block, blocking it really good, mix up on block, and also gives him free starburst where he has access to all of his best moves. So I think that's really important to have. I think that is really important to have, and it is what makes a good rage drive. Makes it good for comeback potential as well. I think it does. Yeah, as Poetry said, it has good enough utility to be an A tier race drive. Now let's go for Anna. Anna's is C. Not really a great neutral tool. Yes, it does leave in for another mix up, but I don't know. It's just kind of, yeah. You know, like all of the C tier rage drives are just kind of yeah, in my opinion. You know, I don't see much more to say about that. Lars is so Lars has quite a bit of utility, but not in a fantastic way, because it's great for wall carry. As a neutral tool, not too bad, leading to a mix-up. And it does strengthen up his, I think, his dynamic entry mix-up, because he has the mid, but he has all, you know, the lows out of it as well. So I think it's all right, but nothing special. Like, it has more utility than the C tier rage drives, that's for sure. Lily's is the C tier as well. First hit whiffs, duck it, she's dead. Even on block, the mix-up isn't great. I think only really her lows are going to connect if she does something, and then the mids that she could do from that range are going to be unsafe anyway, so I don't think there's anything really great after that. Ganryu's C, because yes, the only time Ganryu's is good is in combos. Once you're doing it for a combo for the damage, and the damage is really good, but it's a seeable low. It's a seeable low it's not great. It's not a good neutral tool at all. You can die for doing it. So I think it has to sit at C. Negan, I'd say is another C one. He has a few, but like they're all just like yeah, you know, they're all just kind of yeah. They have their own uses, but I don't think anything spectacular. That's the thing. They have uses, but not anything spectacular. So I think another C for Negan there. Yeah, you can react to Ganryu's. You can react to Ganryu's. Lucky Chloe, I'd say B. It's not bad, but it's not great either. Like, I think it's another one that leads into mix up and block, quite explosive. I don't think you can use it. I don't think they use it in combos though. I think it's only really used as a neutral tool. With that in mind, it does lose some utility. So I think that kind of moves it down, in my opinion. Not really great, you know. Miguel's, I think Miguel can be moved to C tier. Sorry, to B tier. I think Miguel's can be go down to B tier. I don't think it's that bad. Like, the damage isn't great, but you know, the extra tailspin gives it more utility and actually makes it useful. I think it actually gives it a use, so that's nice. And for Kumram, I'm gonna put in B, because the damage of his first rage drive is really good, especially at the wall. Damage is very good at the wall, and the first one does a lot of damage in neutral anyway, and you can use that stuff like back one. You can use it off of knockdowns like 3-4. That's really good. His second rage drive is really telegraphed though, because he does also like while selling 2, and his 3-4-3 stance, and you kind of telegraph it. And I haven't tried to low parry. I think you can low parry, but you just block it and it is unsafe on block. So it's not, the first one's quite good, second one not so much, so I just kind of leave it a B tier. Quite good. And Armor King is very interesting, because Armor King is either really trash or just kind of okay. No, it's kind of here. I'd say C. A lot of people saying F. A lot of people saying F. I'd say C, because it's all right. Like, you know, getting a guaranteed throw, that's unique. That's unique, but you know, just duck it, bro. Like, you know, how does Armor King says rage drive? Just wave dash. Then, you know, rage drive, then you have rage drive hop kick, then you have wave dash hop kick, then you have wave dash CD4. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's not reactable, no, but it's basically a low. It's not reactable, but it can be kind of telegraphed. Marduk and Brian's are better than everyone else's A tiers, not by a lot. By a lot, S or A? I don't think so. And I don't think you can really separate. I wouldn't say so, no. A lot of these could. I think it's also subjective as well. Misstep, thank you, follow. It's also subjective as well, depending on what you think is good for a rager. Like, I think Hwarang is actually quite good, but there are people like Hwarang's trash. It's just some plus frames, right? But I like it. I like it. So it is quite subjective, I think. This is kind of my thoughts on a rage drive tier list. Let me know yours in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. As always, follow me on Twitch, link in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.